And we're back. And so we are jumping back into the ministry myths. And so this one is going to be a fun conversation today with, it's my turn to do the introductions now, Jeremy. Get ready. The eloquent wordsmith himself, Jeremy Smith.
Oh, okay, man.
And so I had a lot of other options to use, but I could not pronounce any of the ones that describe somebody who uses a lot of words. But there's a lot of, believe it or not, there is a lot of very complex and long-winded words that you can use to describe people who use complex and get long-winded. So we stuck with eloquent wordsmith. So that's my best Jeremy impersonation.
Well, you said a person who uses a lot of words. That could mean one of two things. That could mean somebody who knows a lot of words and like uses words maybe that you're not used to, or someone that talks a lot. So
well, you're a preacher, so I will let your staff answer that one for you. If you're anything like every other church I've ever been to, have you ever heard of anybody who's like, oh, he's a very short-winded pastor? He always is. I've never heard of a church who the pastor actually finishes before his allotted time is over.
There's some out there. I've seen them. I've heard about them.
No, that's myth. Like Bigfoot. That's a myth. We've heard of you. We've heard that there's some of you out here.
Even the introvert, like the pastor two before me here at Crosspoint. This dude's like a legend at Crosspoint. His name Ed Chandler. Super introvert, read 200 books a year, counseled people with pastoral counseling, and, didn't hardly talk in the hallways. But again, would he keep in his time? I'm not sure about that. That dude could talk. Yeah.
Hey, for the record, no one would say that about me, but my first ever sermon that I preached finished, it was a 30-minute talk that finished in 12. The reason being is because I got totally nervous, stopped looking at my notes, went off of memory, which was only about 25% of what I actually prepared. And I hated it halfway through. So I just wrapped up the sermon. And
you were done yourself.
Dude, I was like, I don't even like what I'm saying right now. Let's get straight to the cross, talk about Jesus, and let's call for a prayer.
That's last week's or last podcast is the execution myth, like
that's right.
The expertise myth. Sorry. The expertise myth where, somebody put you up there though.
That's right. They should have put me on a different stage first. They put me on that and the lights were bright. And so, all right. With that in mind, let's jump in. The next myth, this time you start us. We're talking about the empowerment myth here. And I love this. This one gets me excited. The difference between filling spots and empowering people. So tell us a little bit about this myth and then we'll jump in.
Yeah, I think this is the myth that can get a lot of us excited because none of us got into ministry to fill volunteer spots. Like that wasn't the dream when you said yes to Jesus.
So true.
The call of God.
The kids minister in your church is saying amen right now.
Right. It's just we have the machine of the church and you have Sundays always coming. And, in some ways you sort of become an event coordinator. I don't know how many conversations I've been in over the years where someone's come out, I preached this powerful sermon, or at least powerful to me, about, isn't it also the case as an aside that you go back and listen to your sermon and you're like, man, that wasn't nearly as powerful as I thought it was. But
so
anyway.
Good in the moment, not looking back.
Man, you thought you killed it in the moment. So anyway, you preach this sermon about you should be volunteering and here's the impact you're going to make. And somebody comes up to you after the service and they go, Pastor, I know I should be doing more. Where do you need me? Where can I plug in? What should I be doing? And what's the first thing you think about? Where do we have an open spot?
That's right. That's right.
Where do we have the most need?
And the answer is kids ministry.
Always kids ministry. That's right. Or the middle school retreat you're about to go on, something like that. Hey, do a background check before you send them. Anyway, that you just go to the empty spot, and that's real. I'm not even judging that. It's what has to happen in order for Sundays or Wednesdays or whatever it is to happen. So I get that. I understand it, not judging it, but I think there's something better. The reason you did get into ministry is to help people find their God-given purpose in the mission of God. There we talk about it, help them find your unique role in the mission of God. I think when we slip into like a filling spots equals empowering people, like how many people are serving or are your people kind of doing what they're supposed to do? We go, well, we got this many people serving here and we need a few more people there, but that's not really empowering people. In fact, what it can lead to when you're just matching a warm body with an open need kind of, when you're thinking about the need of the church over against what's best for that person. I think what it leads to and what we talk about is at least the burnout for our people.
Mhm.
Like how
Yeah.
many people have we put in kids ministry? Have we put in middle school ministry? And then they do it and they're like, this isn't for me. Jeremy said I'd be feeling all this fulfillment and purpose and seeing all this fruit, but I'm seeing none of that. And all I'm feeling is disillusioned and burned out and used because it's not a match for their spiritual gifts, for their natural talents that God has given them, for the experience that God wants to redeem in their life, and for the unique role that He's prepared for them. And here's a crazy thing that blows me away. I was talking to a group of students this past weekend about this. God made you uniquely in the history of the world to reflect who He is, to reach the people He's called you to reach, to bring about His mission in the way that He's created you to bring about. And when we just get into filling slots or spots equals empowering people, we're minimizing that in those people, and we're hurting the work of the kingdom of God, the mission of God
Yeah.
on this earth.
I love that. Yeah, so much of it, I mean, it really is just that idea of like, why does volunteering exist in your church?
Mm.
And the truth is almost always a church gives me a what it needs to run the programs opposed to telling me why the person needs volunteering to grow as a disciple. And what it is so much often that volunteering, if we're honest, is almost always for us about alleviating the organization's pain opposed to activating the individual's potential.
I knew you'd have a good line. Say that again.
As this volunteering is almost always the way that we operate is almost always exist to alleviate an organization's pain opposed to activate an individual's potential.
Mm.
We think about it from the organization lens first opposed to the individuals. And really that right there, that difference, that's the difference between a kingdom and an empire. So
Wow. That's
an
good.
empire mindset says the individuals exist to build up the leadership and the brand. Where a kingdom says the leadership exists to serve its people.
Mhm.
And when we think about volunteering, first and foremost, as a way to help with our programming, they're existing to serve the programs of the church, opposed to us saying, hey, how do we take that gift that God's put in you and how do we activate it? How do we help you see what God has put in you and begin to grow as a disciple? And
Mm.
that shift is totally different. And until we shift that, like our people know it. Like if you talk to anybody, like we all say it this way. And I'd be curious as a preacher, Jeremy. There may be a story that comes up for you. Your invitation reveals your motivation.
Mm.
Think about the last invitation that you gave for somebody to join a volunteer team or to be a part of what you're doing. That invitation, what does it show? What does it reveal about your mindset? Is it a filling spots mindset, empowering people mindset?
Right. Is it we want something from you or we want something for you sort
Oh,
of
it's
deal?
good.
We need you to do this. I heard somebody recently go, we're desperate for volunteers.
That never works. There's in sales, one of the first things they'll say is needy is creepy. Like
Mm.
it's like we need you. We're struggling, please. And you're like, okay, maybe, but there may be a better way to cast some vision here.
Well, and that's one of the biggest, in implementing disciple making and changing a culture, it's years and years and years, and you're slogging through it. And you have some moments that are accelerating and some moments where you're just sort of grinding through it and doing the right thing, just like any kind of spiritual growth. But one of the big breakthroughs I think we've seen at Crosspoint, one of the things I can say, like, man, the accelerator has been down on this, is our old sort of mission statement was, come as you are, meet Christ, grow in your faith, and find a place to serve. Come, meet, grow, serve. And it was super catchy and people got it. But that serve became serve within the walls of the local church. It became fill
Mm,
spots. We didn't mean for it to be that.
yeah,
That was never the intention. But again, sort of like your invitation reveals your motivation. That's totally what it became. And I think the flip that we've seen here, and it's been so freeing for me as a pastor, not just preaching, but leading the organization. It's been so freeing for me as a pastor to reframe that to, we want to help you find your unique role in the mission of God. Our new
mm,
mission statement is people connecting people to Christ. That's the general
mm,
call of all of us to be disciple makers. People connecting people to Christ. And then the second part is that personal calling and their unique role in God's mission. It's God's mission, not our
yeah,
mission, not Crosspoint's mission. That was super important for us to put in there. But you and I have a
that's
unique
right.
role in that. And being able to tell our people that we don't, everything we do, the 2035 dream that we have, it's all about them and other churches and reaching other people. We do Disciple Story or Kingdom Circle. And we actually have a program now to help people first off, know and name their unique role in the mission of God and develop a ministry plan around it. Like this
Mm,
past week, I'm preaching about giving. And but we're talking about our 4 roles of a disciple. One of them is kingdom builder. So that's what we call the giving series every year. And but I'm talking about being a deployed disciple. And I just looked at the whole congregation and was like, do you know your purpose in life? And it was
mm,
dead silent. Do you know your purpose in life? Complete silence. And I was like, all right, I'll take that as you don't. We have we can help you find that. To be able to say that to your people, and not just like we can help you find it by plugging you in a spot and then you like sort of figure it out as you go. That is part of discerning the will of God. You figure it out as you start doing it. But we can actually help you identify the special way God created you,
yeah,
the unique story, passions, and abilities that you have, the kingdom circle that He's already placed you in, and help you develop, name that and begin to live it out. Man, that's the kind of church that I want to be a part of.
that's right. And your people can feel that difference. Like, even
Mm,
as you're telling that story, I can feel the invitation to that versus the invitation to come and help with our volunteer needs is totally different.
mm,
And I think that's the big, like, and I'd say it this way, is that, like, I wanna acknowledge that, like, there are seasons and there are times where, like, yes, hey, we do have to fill a spot. Like, there's
yeah.
certain moments, hey, we gotta have an adult there to watch kids. Like, there's certain moments there where, like, we need that, and we ask our people, "Hey, would you serve for the sake of the body here?" But it should never be our long-term solution. It should never be our default. And I think that's the shift here, is like, it's not that there aren't moments where you have to fill spots. Like, I think, hey, let's be at least practical and realistic here. There's gonna be seasons, there's gonna be
For
moments.
sure, for
But if
sure.
that's the way you approach it, like, then you're never gonna see the movement that you hope. Because here's the thing, like, filling spots, that mentality is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a vicious cycle. It causes the problem it's trying to solve. Because
Hmm,
what you do is, with a filling spots mentality, you say, "Hey, would you come help us? We need this help over here. Would you come and serve in the student ministry? Would you come and serve with the hospitality team?" Whatever it may be. And so people will respond to that out of obligation, and they will commit to it for a season. But after a short while, they're eventually going to say, "Hey, I'm not passionate about it. This isn't my gift." And they're going to step out of that. and then you're left with another spot to fill. And so you have to go right back to it. And so you ask another person who commits out of obligation that only serves for a short amount of time, and history repeats itself. But when you actually look and say, "Hey, what does God put in you? Like, how are you gifted? How are you wired? What are you passionate about?" When you can help activate the calling in their life, now they step into something that they're going to be in not just for a couple of months, but years. And that's the big idea, is that like with a filling spots mentality, people will give you like people will serve sparingly, but with an empowering people mindset, when you help them activate their calling, people will give sacrificially. They will give exponentially more when you connect them to how God's wired them and help them find their place, as you guys say, in God's mission.
That's a great point. We actually exacerbate the problem and continue to kick it down the road by not taking the time to and you're right, like, sometimes I hold doors at our church.
Yeah.
Sometimes I helped with our middle school student retreat. I was there all weekend. It was awesome. I love student ministry though, even middle school student
That's right.
ministry.
That's right.
But I sometimes you just gotta go do that. But then is that really the strategy or the overall mindset of your church? And I think the other thing people feel is used.
Yeah.
And like it slowing down and helping them figure this out, even if it costs the organization for a small period of time, or even if you cast a vision like, "Hey, start doing this, and then we can help you find this," shows how much you care, and it's a prophetic way of speaking into someone's life.
Yeah.
The culture is constantly speaking all these words about who we are and defining who we are, and so one of our jobs as shepherds, but also as a community together with each other, not just us as the shepherds, but
Mhm.
us with each other, is to see the unique ways God has created and gifted each one of us and help us find that and not
Yeah.
just, use certain gifts or we always talk about like, all right, so you're an accountant. That means you're on the finance team, you're a builder. That means you're on trustees. You're a lawyer. That means you give,
Yeah.
whatever it is like maybe it means that. My wife was a CPA and an accountant. She didn't want to do that anymore. She wants to
Right.
work with students. She
Yeah.
wants to be in creative. That's really where her gifting is.
And I think that's you do that really well with your disciple story retreat, and then with our Kingdom Circle tool that we talk about. Like, when you can help people serve in a way that it connects with their 2 words, when they can understand, man, how God's wired me, that Ephesians 2:10, when you can help them connect that, like, man, they come alive. And, that's that big idea, is that disciple making outside your design always leads to frustration.
Mm,
Disciple making within your design always leads to fulfillment. And so as long as we keep doing a filling spots mentality, people will serve out of obligation. But when we can actually empower them and speak to their calling in their life, they serve out of opportunity. They
mm.
serve out of desire, not out of guilt. And so that idea is that, like, filling spots, they will serve sparingly with that mentality. But when we empower people to activate their God-given calling, man, they will serve sacrificially. That's over and over. We see that. I've actually personally, my story with Sophie. Sophie was asked to go and serve on a volunteer team, and she was like, "Yeah, like we will," but we were 20 minutes away. We just had a kid. She's like, "I just can't in this season." Then a week later, somebody said, "Hey, I know that you speak Spanish, and I know that you are." I know that you speak Spanish. I know that you love caring for people that may feel on the margin or feel new to a community. Would you be up for being a table leader for us and at our Spanish ministry? And we were like, and she was like, "Yeah, like I'd love to do that." She wouldn't serve for 1 hour on Sunday mornings, but she found a way to serve 3 hours every Monday night as a
Wow.
table leader. With me traveling, I'm getting calls from her if in the hotel, and she's like, "Oh, it's so good. It was so awesome. I got to use my Spanish and I got to care for people." And it's like, it's because somebody looked and said, "Hey, God's put something in you.
Mm.
We love to give you an opportunity to use it." And people come alive.
That first off, that just the like you said, invitation reveals motivation. I'm gonna keep that in mind. And
Yeah.
whoever said that and the way they said that is, yeah, that's awesome.
They did. They did pretty well, and so they knew they were they knew the way to Sophie's heart. It was Spanish and caring for people, and so I
But I
love it.
remember there's a revelation for me as we were going through our process with you of I had made it all about getting as many multiply groups or D groups as we possibly could. That
Mhm.
was the goal for me.
Yeah.
And when we were creating our pathway, it was like, well, okay, where do you want people to end up in this disciple making process?
Yeah.
And it wasn't a D group.
Yeah.
That was along the pathway. It wasn't a program. It was being deployed, which being in the military community, speaks so highly
Mhm.
to them. But being deployed in your unique area of leadership, being deployed in the unique way God has created you for his mission,
Yeah.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
And just having the mindset of like, and this is again having to sort of die to yourself, die to the needs of the organization to really see the John 12, like seed buried in the ground unless it
Mm.
dies,
Yeah.
and but if it dies, it produces much fruit.
Yeah.
That was another one of those moments for me of like, do I care more about what's going to benefit the organization and how to get more people doing that? Or what if more people are sent from
Yeah.
Crosspoint?
That's right.
And I love being able to tell our people, we want to help you be deployed on the unique mission God has for you in the unique area of leadership God has for you, not just what serves this church.
Hey, church leader, I want to take just a moment and tell you about an exciting opportunity for you. Most churches have a passion for multiplication, they just don't know how to do it. Pastors have this disciple making burden, but their vision and strategy for it just aren't working. After 17 years and working with over 4,000 churches, our team has found many ways to help the church better make disciples. We call this our movement ready church process. It helps your church create a disciple making culture, vision, and strategy that fits your unique context. It fits your church size, your community, your leadership style. If you want more information about our Movement Ready Church process, you can grab the book, Movement Ready Church, at any place that books are sold. Also, you can join us for any of our Movement Ready trainings. We host one-day trainings all across the country, and we have a virtual on-demand course that you can go through as a team. So if you're ready to see multiplication take off at your church, just go ahead and grab the leader notes in this show, and you'll see all the links to what I've mentioned and more. Now, let's get back to the episode. It's a change, I would say, as we think about this myth and like the importance of busting this, it changes your finish line for your strategy, like for your pathway and what you're trying to develop in your people. If you have a filling spots mentality, what that looks like is like the goal is how do we get somebody who is serving with us? How do we get the most engaged church member where they are serving and volunteering their time with us? And that's really important. That's a really great step along the pathway, but that's not the goal. Like, that's not the finish line. There's so much more. The question, and that's where we really, when we come in and work with teams, a successful pathway, a successful strategy for us is not somebody who is just serving a lot. That may be a part of it, maybe a byproduct. The goal is not, the end is not service. It's, are they reaching their kingdom circle? And how we
Mhm.
talk about it, the idea that every person in your church has a circle of influence that they're called to bring the kingdom of God into. Empowering people mindset looks and says every person has a calling in their life. There is a unique way that they make disciples, and they have been placed in a unique circle. And how do we help connect their calling and their circle together so that they can make disciples in the only way that they can? Success for us and empowering people is not, can you serve in our programming and give your time, but it is, how are you making disciples where you live, work, and play? And this idea, that's a total different scorecard. It's a total different end result for your pathway and strategy. But so often we design that church strategy with, "Hey, gather, grow, go," or
Mhm.
attend, connect, serve.
Yeah.
Even what was yours again?
Come meet, grow, serve.
Come, meet, grow, serve. So glad that we're doing all 4 of those.
Right.
But man, what's after serve
Mhm.
is go and make disciples, right? And so,
The main
uh,
the
the
main
main
thing.
that's right. I love it. And so any other final words of encouragement around the empowerment myth?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you this, and because I love the kingdom circle thing.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm talking to people, I at one of our disciple stories, that's this part of the last thing we do in making your plan is, "Who are your people?" And, this lady was like, "I don't really have" she's a little bit older, "I don't really have a lot of people." I said, "That's not true."
Yeah.
Like, helping people identify the kingdom circle around them, that's another thing that makes, disciple making come alive is you really can't God really has put you around certain people,
Yeah.
to reach. But here say I wanted to ask you, say something about the tension, again, and you've said a little bit about this,
Yeah.
between, man, Sunday is coming.
Yeah.
And so how do I deal with that? And how do I get out of the Sunday is coming mindset all the time?
Yeah, I think again, I think it's not that there aren't seasons of filling spots and there aren't those moments that you need to, but it's a mentality. Like, is the reason that volunteering exists? Is it so that we can run Sunday events? Or is it so that we can activate our people's calling that is in them? Is it to be able to activate their gifts? And I think if it's the former there, like if we always operate in that, that's that, vicious cycle and everything that you're never going to get out of it. Like Sunday will always keep coming and like you'll always have spots to fill. And so I think in one, it's just a mentality first and foremost. I do think too, it's think about in volunteering, what does it look like for just one of the most fruitful conversations that I have, or maybe it's not even fruitful. One of the most challenging things is, hey, can you tell me how your volunteer experiencing is helping somebody become a disciple maker?
That's good. That's a great question.
Most of the time, they tell me how they're becoming better at holding doors or doing kids ministry, and all those are good things, but what it shows is they actually don't see that space, and they don't or maybe another way of thinking is they don't use that space as an intentional time where they can invest in people and help them grow. And so I think you guys are doing a great job of that. Even in your volunteering spaces now, you guys ask questions about what from your dream disciple.
Mhm.
You are often, if I remember right, like you're looking at are we connecting with them? How are we caring for them? And how are we helping them grow spiritually?
Yeah.
Like they're not just coming in, hitting a checklist of things that they're supposed to do and then going. There's a relational investment, there's a growth opportunity that you guys see and that your leaders steward so that they can continue to serve. And the truth is, when you do that in that space, maybe how they enter, it was just to fill a spot because Sunday was coming. But as your leaders walk alongside them and get to know them and grow them in their faith, they begin to get in the right place where they are activating that calling over time. And so I think both it's just a mentality and approach to volunteering that's individual first, not organization first.
Yeah, I think it starts with repentance in the leader's heart.
Mm,
You know, like I had to do of, what am I most after? But yeah,
yeah.
then you talked about we talk about people develop it we said the same thing for life groups and serve teams, both. We want
Mhm.
them to develop relationally, spiritually, and missionally. And
It's
that's
good.
work to try to make that happen. 2 out of the 3 happen pretty easily in life groups, but then the missional part doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then, missional and relational sort of happen in serving, but are we really helping our people on serve teams develop spiritually? So that's been a challenge to kind of try to live into that. But you're right, we're trying to hit all 3 of those in both of
Yeah.
those areas.
Slow that down though, because I
Yeah.
just say it one more time. There were three. I said it wrong. Listen to the way Jeremy says it. Everybody, what are the three?
Want to develop relationally, spiritually, and missionally.
Yeah. And each of your leaders is responsible for creating an environment in their serve teams that does those three things.
Because that's in our developing communities. part of our
Yeah,
pathway. So they're
that
all
makes sense.
developed. But yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think that right there, the intentionality is so much different than, "Hey, here's what I need you to execute."
Hmm.
And you're sitting there, "Hey, this is how we're gonna grow you. This is how we're gonna develop you in community." And that's what it looks like too, of not just like, man, volunteering runs the machine, and it's a place where we engage and we develop our people as well. Love that.
I want to say one more thing. I highly encourage you to check out Kingdom Circle or Disciple Story, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. But I highly encourage you to check that out. It's an easily reproducible program that we have available where, Vic?
Yeah, I'm so glad that you asked. The new Kingdom Circle course actually just came out. So perfect timing, Jeremy. The Kingdom Circle course is actually an on demand course that is in the Collective Network. So you just join the Collective Network, and there it is. It is something that we used to have to always go on site to do with churches that now is available. And it's a video course that walks you through the book of Acts, and it helps your people discover their calling and create a disciple making plan for their circle of influence. The big idea of Kingdom Circle, like we said earlier, is how are you bringing the kingdom of God into your circle of influence? And so that's really that retreat that Jeremy and Jagger have talked about. It all is around that tool and that concept. And so really is a powerful course of, if you're not in the Collective Network, that's the place to go. If nothing else, just to walk through that course. And I think you'll see it's a paradigm shifting process that directly connects with this empowerment myth.
That resource, Kingdom Circle, is worth the Collective Network. And there's a lot of other great things in there, but it has been a part of change in our church. Let's say you can't do that or whatever, at least give somebody a spiritual gift and have a conversation over coffee and lunch before you to try to determine where it might be best for them. Like
That's good.
Even if it's not Kingdom Circle course, there are some ways that you can still do this.
Yeah, that's good. All right. So, speaking of, in the leader notes, you will find the link to Collective Network, to the Kingdom Circle course. You'll also see the ministry myths assessment. So, all the things we've been talking about, all in the leader notes, just download it there. And if this conversation is helpful for you, it means the world if you will subscribe and share. But until next time, we'll see you then.